Hey y'all, there's been an update on Prince Harry's security review. Despite 6 years of opposition from Ravek, Feminegra has the story. I have thoughts, of course, so let's get into it. Once again, thank you so much for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about this article from Feminegra, but before we do, if you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share so that more people can find us. The title of this article is Prince Harry Wins Breakthrough Security Review After 6 Years of Ravek Opposition. This is written by Miss Historian. The Home Office will carry out a full risk assessment for Prince Harry after 6 years of refusals, a shift that underscores how long the system resisted confronting its own decisions. The earlier stance held even as evidence mounted that the arrangements in place left the Duke exposed during each visit. His court challenge forced officials to explain a process that never received proper scrutiny and revealed contradictions in how protection for senior figures is managed. The new review signals pressure that can no longer be dismissed and reflects the growing recognition that the dispute has harmed the reputation of the institutions involved. It really has. It's made people see just how biased they are, and for very, very, very petty reasons. It's not like they're trying to uphold some kind of decorum or some kind of honor or fanfare, etc. It's literally that they are institutionally and systemically bullying a family who just didn't want to be racially abused. Crazy, right? It also raises questions about why a correction took this long and what it suggests about the forces now driving the reversal. Review signals a major change in approach. Officials have ordered a complete assessment of the Duke's current threat level. The move ends a long period in which he relied on a temporary arrangement that required him to request support for each visit. Imagine being the son of the king, even if he were the grandson or the niece or the cousin or the gardener. If you are affiliated with the current monarch, I cannot imagine even having to think twice about whether or not security will be provided and just how much. And that should just be a given. I've always felt like this dispute was anti-common sense, with Prince Harry representing common sense and them representing bias. Anyway, the move ends a long period in which he relied on a temporary arrangement that required him to request support for each visit. The previous system offered little certainty and left him dependent on limited police involvement. Harry received notice of the new review at the end of last week, and his team is already working with government and police representatives. A recommendation is expected next month. The outcome will set the terms of his future visits and determine whether earlier decisions met the standards expected for a figure with his record and profile. Senior security figures have warned for years that the lack of a formal review placed the Duke at unnecessary risk. And also, yes, unnecessary risk, but grave risk. There were several threats posed to Prince Harry. Neil Basu, the former head of counterterrorism, said Prince Harry remained very close to the top of the protected list and stressed that the impact of any incident involving him required full armed protection. His comments highlighted the gap between specialist advice and the system that governed Prince Harry's visits. Signs of King Charles's influence. The decision comes after Prince Harry and the King reopened private communication during the autumn. Their meeting in September marked the first contact of that kind in more than a year and appears to have eased the atmosphere between them. Those close to the process believe the shift reflects the monarch's desire to resolve long-running disputes that affect his son's ability to travel safely. I kind of feel like some things shouldn't need convincing, but hey, a start is a start. But I just feel like the person who should be the loudest about their child's safety is that child's parent. However, Charles oversaw a period in which the Duke and his family lost the protection they once received as working royals, a change that left them exposed, despite a history of high-risk assessments. The new review follows years of tension and reflects pressure created by Prince Harry's legal action rather than a renewed sense of duty. It arrives at a moment when the institution faces sustained scrutiny and when senior figures understand the cost of allowing the dispute to continue. The decision acknowledges that the earlier approach cannot stand and reveals how much the palace now needs a workable path forward. Basu's assessment strengthened the view among security professionals that the earlier arrangement was no longer sustainable. He noted that Prince Harry's position in the threat hierarchy had not shifted since 2019, and that his visibility has increased. Those remarks sharpened the focus on why a full review had not been commissioned sooner. Agreed. I'm also wondering the same. The reassessment arrives against a backdrop of renewed interest in Prince Harry's public role. Reports in several outlets described steady movement inside government and palace circles, with figures who once kept their distance now seeking a more constructive path. The Independent noted that conversations about security never fully ended, even when the dispute appeared settled. Recent accounts suggest those conversations widened as senior officials recognized the stain that the current arrangement placed on both sides. Prince Harry's earlier comments about an establishment stitch-up reflected the depth of his frustration and the long period in which the issue remained unresolved. His decision to seek clarity through the courts forced the system to explain itself, and the explanation left unresolved questions. The stalemate became harder to defend as the Duke continued to attract global attention and as the palace faced growing scrutiny over its approach to modern diplomacy. Coverage of Project Thaw added another layer to this shift. Richard Eden described a series of quiet efforts to improve relations, beginning with Prince Harry's meetings with the King in September and extending to renewed interest from senior ministers, including the Foreign Secretary. His account points to a view among some officials that the Sussexes hold value for Britain's international reach, and that engagement, rather than distance, may better serve institutional interests. I wonder who else could have said this. I wonder who else could have had several summits and could have offered a half-in, half-out situation, who offered to work for free. I wonder what two people already pointed out their value on a global scale and by working on behalf of the crown. Who could that have been? Who was that? I don't remember. Harry and Meghan already said all this, and the Queen also understood all this. It's William and Charles who didn't want any of this. It's William and Charles who don't understand what's best for the monarchy. It's William and Charles who hold it back. Harry and Meghan already said all this. If you don't believe me, go watch Harry and Meghan the docuseries. If accurate, it reveals a coordinated attempt to rebuild ties at a moment when the monarchy's public influence appears fragile. The reassessment exposes how the system failed the Duke and how long those failures were allowed to stand. It confirms that the framework introduced in 2020 created avoidable risks and left basic questions unanswered about how a senior royal should be protected. It also lays bare the strain inside the monarchy, where internal priorities and shifting loyalties produced decisions that eroded trust in its judgment. A clear ruling may ease the uncertainty that has defined Prince Harry's visits, but it also forces the palace to confront the consequences of choices that left him and his family exposed. I also want to point out Prince Harry's family that was exposed is also King Charles' family. Like that's his daughter-in-law. Those are his grandchildren. And of course, Prince Harry is his son. So any concern Prince Harry had for the safety of his family, Prince Charles should have also echoed, but louder because he's the monarch. I can't imagine what that must be like to ask my dad to not have me killed or to not allow me to be killed through negligence. I can't imagine having to plead that case. Many observers now argue that the timing of this reversal is not about supporting Prince Harry's ability to move freely in his home country. Instead, they suggest it reflects a push to rehabilitate King Charles's public image. After years of scrutiny over his distance from Prince Harry, critics say palace strategy now centers on securing at least one public moment with Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, a photograph that could soften his image and blur the reality of an estrangement shaped by the institution's own decisions and racism. Such a moment would allow commentators and courtiers to reframe the story for posterity and obscure the damage done when Prince Harry stepped back for his well-being and safety. The record that fuels this perception is long. It includes delays over the Sussex children's passports, years of contested security arrangements, and the decision to remove Harry and Meghan from Frogmore Cottage even after they repaid the full taxpayer-funded renovation cost of £2.4 million. To many, this reinforced the view that the king prioritized optics over relationship and control over care. And you know what? I'm going to just be honest. He indulged the racists that he wants to support him. He's always concerned about how the media feels about him because he's most concerned with how the public feels about him. He allows validation to make and break him. And he was leaning into what he assumed was the majority, which is the racists in his country and the racist biased media. and he sacrificed his son, daughter-in-law, and his grandchildren to do so. There is no redemption for Charles, according to me. And after reading Diana's book, there will never be redemption for Charles, according to me. I've also been quite hard on the parents lately. Tomorrow, I'll be releasing a video about my thoughts on Meghan making contact with Thomas Markle, and how I feel about Meghan being well within her rights to make whatever decision works best for her, because she will always have my support. And that is a very personal decision. It's extremely nuanced, and she deserves nothing but support, grace, and compassion, because no one should have to make that decision between their own safety and well-being and their parents. But my thoughts on that are coming tomorrow. As for today, Charles is in my crosshairs, because how dare you not only put your son, your daughter-in-law, and your grandchildren through hell and back intentionally, and then try to welcome them back in just so that you can have a PR moment. And make no mistake, that's what all of this is about, by the way. You cannot convince me otherwise. He's only trying to make himself look better. He does not care about those people. He commodifies people. He uses people. He finagles with people like a chessboard, but he does not care about any one individual's well-being outside of that which he's married to. And honestly, I don't even know if he really loves or likes her. I think he's just scared of her. To be real, I think he has severe mommy issues. I think she knows how to puppeteer those issues. And I think they have a very quid pro quo relationship. And from what I understand, she snores like an ox at night and they sleep in separate rooms. I don't know if that's true. That is what I have heard. I don't know if it's true, because who would know that outside of a courtier? So who put the story out? There's no honesty amongst thieves. But that's not the point. Prince Harry is well within his rights to do whatever he feels he needs to do. He has nothing but my support. I hope they do give him full security, because at the end of the day, regardless of his working status, he's the son of the king. His existence poses a threat to himself and his family. His children's, his wife's existence, being royalty, poses a threat to their safety. They should be secured. If you're going to force these people into the public eye, you need to keep them safe. Prince Harry had no choice in the matter. He was trotted out. He was shown to the public. They have watched him grow up. They have developed these very parasocial relationships with him, so much so that when he decided to show that, hey, I'm not like the others, I'm not a bigot, I see people for people, and I fell in love with the absolute best woman in the world, and damn, am I lucky to have her, and then give birth to 2 beautiful children with her, they couldn't take it because he wasn't racist like them. And then his dad acquiesced to their racist demands and said, let me indulge my other son with his bald-headed ass and his straw-haired wife, let me indulge their racism and reject my own child. When what he should have done as a father is say, I cannot believe I raised a bigot. I cannot believe you married a piece of crap scarecrow who is also a bigot. And I cannot believe you are trying to treat your little brother like that. But the point is, Charles should have absolutely mitigated that much better. He should have gotten William on a leash, reared that child like he was supposed to. But it's really hard to raise your kids to be good people, leaving them susceptible to turning out like William, a worst case scenario, in my opinion, when you're chasing tail all up and through the UK. Tail, by the way, that is not your wife, your beautiful, loving, humanitarian wife who's at home being a doting wife, taking care of your 2 children and trying to help society. It's really hard to call out someone else when your skeletons are so big and in so many closets, sitting next to your brother's stuffed animals that are lined up just so, or his staff gets screamed at. There's so many skeletons and so much drama that I'm surprised he even had time to think about Prince Harry, or let alone reduce his security and leave him at risk of being harmed. So while at the end of the day, I'm glad that movement is happening, this should have never been a problem. He kind of operates, in my opinion, he kind of operates like that person we have in office, that orange weirdo. Or it's, people have been calling him orange soda. Do you drink orange soda means do you support the person in the White House? I don't drink orange soda. You will not find any Kel over here. But no, Charles kind of operates like that person. He creates a problem, allows the problem to become an even bigger problem. And then he starts to peel back on whatever he did that messed things up to make it look like he's solving the problem. So then he gets all the praise for making things happen when really he's just breaking things and then not getting in the way when they're getting repaired, or getting out of the way when they're about to get repaired. He's not actually fixing anything, because this shouldn't have been an issue to begin with. You shouldn't have pulled his damn security from the beginning. And any parent worth their weight in parenthood would have stood between their child and Ravek before they allowed their security to be stripped. Any parent worth their weight in parenthood would have been like, if y'all don't give him security, then I'm suiting up to secure my baby, because what you're not going to do is put my baby in danger. A parent would have gone toe to toe to Ravek. But that's under the assumption that the parent isn't working with Ravek to do this very thing, to teach him a lesson, because he's operating on a very personal level, a very petty level, from a very biased place, a very competitive place, because he's insecure. See what happens when the need for validation operates at such a high level and it outweighs your love for yourself and children? Because I firmly believe if you do not love your own kids, you cannot possibly love yourself. I am a firm believer in that. So people who reject their own children tell me everything I need to know about how they feel about themselves. And sometimes the child you reject is the child that reminds you of the shadow side of yourself that you wish to change or hide, the shadow side of yourself that you have yet to evolve from, the shadow side of yourself that you're embarrassed at, the shadow side of yourself that you wish to deflect some. So you reject the child because they remind you of who you truly are and the work you still have yet to do. Children reflect back to us all that we truly are, because we cannot bullshit our kids. And that's why when Prince Harry was honest, they freaked. Because at no point has anyone ever said Prince Harry was lying. They just said, should he be talking about this? No. But the same people asking that question never stopped to ask themselves, should Harry have any of this to even talk about? Why would you put him through this? Never mind the silence you're trying to inflict. Why would you do this to him? Hell, if the man didn't stay silent for the rest of his life, he would be owed that. The least you could do is leave him alone and tell a story, because you gave him quite a story to tell. How dare you act a fool in my life and then tell me to remember you otherwise? Absolutely not. Now he's trying to clean it up because he probably has that time ticking, and he's like, you know what? I don't want my son going haywire when I'm out of here. And he's telling every damn thing, because you better believe Prince Harry was holding back at least 400 pages worth. He was holding back. He's probably trying to make amends to make sure that when he leaves this earth, Prince Harry doesn't raise absolute hell on William. And boy, if I were Harry, I would show them just how hot fire could get, because I would absolutely burn it all down. And then I would go back home to my home in Montecito and pick my oranges and relax and be like, oh, are they still freaking out over there because all that business I put out? Oh, well, they'll be all right. I'm so glad Prince Harry will never come in contact with my videos. And I'm so glad that he is nowhere near as petty as fantasy me would want him to be. But no, in all honesty, I love that he handles himself with such dignity and pride, and he's compassionate. He gives them, in the same things that you're going to hear me say about Meghan tomorrow in the video regarding her and her father. The things that I adore and respect about Meghan and Harry are how compassionate and loving and considerate they are. But damn, they're in the wrong families for that, because those families don't deserve it. Thank you so much for watching the SharionSade YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my content. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to comment along the way. If you feel so inclined, please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Now let's get back to the video. All that aside, I hope that Prince Harry's security is reinstated fully, without question, and without any kind of inhibitions. I hope they're able to completely secure him as he should be and protect this grown man who's done nothing to anyone outside of work on behalf of the crown, then work on behalf of his amazing foundation and all of his other partnerships and affiliates and his beautiful family, and just simply try to leave the world better than how he found it. I hope y'all just simply get the hell out of his way while he does that. Goodness gracious, there's so few people who are doing that. You know, instead of bothering him, you could also be doing that. You could also be trying to make the world a better place, but that's too big of an ask. That's a very tall ask. So what I will say is simply get the hell out of Harry and Meghan's way. Thanks. So those are my thoughts, quite a few of them. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share so that more people can find us. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.